and your generosity towards us has meant a lot in many ways. And I don't have a humorous story like Ron to share with you, and I think he took most of the time. But I love that that you bring the Italian an Italian flair to the Rasmussen side of my family line, because I also get the Italian flair from my mom's side, and it's really fun to share that with people. And I think that's something that's kind of unique that we have in common with each other. But I love you, and I'm so grateful to have you as my grandma, and happy birthday.
Ciao, ciao.
Hi, Grandma. How are you doing? Well, let's see. You know, I was thinking about how we used to come visit you in Soda Springs every summer usually, but also sometimes in the winter. And I was thinking about we always loved eating freezes at your house, and also you always made these breakfast cookies. I think they were called sunshine cookies or something like that, with healthy sunflower seeds and that sort of thing in them. And we always loved eating those at your house. It seemed like you always kept a good store of them in your freezer that we could always go steal from. And I may even recall getting in trouble for taking too many on occasion. But just so many good memories of you, Grandma. And so happy birthday, happy 80th birthday. Oh, we're talking on the phone. All right, Alex. Say happy birthday, happy birthday, Grandma.
Say happy birthday to great grandma. Can you say happy birthday?
Alex always gets really shy when he's put on the spot, but he likes to talk about great grandma, and he's always excited to see you until he actually sees you, and then he gets really shy. So don't let that throw you off, even in front of the camera. I guess he's like that. Can you say
Always excited talking about great grandma Rasmussen.
Yeah. Can you just lead the wave or something? All right. Hey, Link.
Can you say happy birthday?
Say happy birthday.
Say happy birthday, Grandma. Can you say happy birthday? Happy birthday.
Oh, good.
Oh, he's gonna go tell her in person.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
Happy birthday, Grandma. We love you.
Oh, we love you. Happy birthday.
Say happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Grandma.
You want me to go first? Okay. The thing that I think is wonderful about Grandma Rasmussen is that she's always one step ahead of me. Every time I think I need to call Grandma and see how she's doing, she calls me like that same day and beats me to it and says, "How are you doing? And can I bring you dinner?" And just out of the blue, she calls up and she brings us things and offers us things, and she just is always thinking of others, I think, before she thinks of herself. And I have appreciated that. So, Jackson on the next? Okay.
I love you, Grandma. I just wanted to say thank you for doing the really nice things on my birthday, like taking me out to In-N-Out and taking me to your house after that and watching Home Alone. That was really fun. And we got to work. And I just also wanted to say thank you for paying me $50 for doing stuff in the backyard, like fertilizing and sweeping up leaves and stuff. So, I love you. And what's your next?
Good job.
Great.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to say when I come over to your house to go trick or treating, I love your candy, and on Christmas I love your presents, and on Thanksgiving I just like to spend time with you guys. And happy birthday, Grandma.
Nice. Sadie, your turn.
I just wanted to say happy birthday, and today on Thanksgiving I just wanted to spend time with you.
Good job, Sadie.
Do you want to say something?
Say happy birthday.
No? Okay. Joe, you want to say anything?
Can you say happy birthday?
I don't think so.
Can you just wave, say happy birthday?
Do
Say
this.
hi.
Okay.
Very nice. Well,
That's
my earliest, memories of Grandma all revolve around our almost every summer up in Soda Springs. We were lucky to have two grandmas that lived right across the street from each other, and we spent a lot of time at both, which was great. I remember Grandma always food was something that was always prevalent. She was always cooking and making dinners and making everything for us, which was great. And that's some of our great family memories growing up was the dinners that we had and all the special occasions that we spent together. And just with time, it's been great the last 20 or so years having you live in Arizona, where we could see you a lot more often than some of your other family, which we've been very lucky and blessed. You've even after Grandpa passed away, you've led and have a great family and a great family legacy that we're all proud to be a part of. So we love you, Grandma. Happy birthday, and hope you have many more. Happy birthday, Grandma!
Happy birthday, Grandma!
Grandma, happy birthday! We just want to tell you that we really appreciate you being our best babysitter for these little girls, because it's just so nice to have you close and so willing, and somebody that we totally trust that we can leave them with, and they love to come to your house, and they love it when you come to our house and just hold them and play with them and all that stuff. So, happy birthday, and Jess?
And just thank you for your generosity. You're always offering a Diet Coke or a half of a salami or 3/4 of a bag of raisins. We love it. Thank you so much for your generosity again for babysitting. We really appreciate it, and we're going to bug you a lot more.
Happy birthday, Mom. Happy birthday. Belatedly, but still pretty exciting. We've been asked to say a few words kind of in memory a little bit of you, certainly. Let me start with something easy. I remember once hearing Gary talk about you, and I learned a new word. It was self-effacing. He'd use that to describe you. I had to look it up in the dictionary because I wasn't sure what it was, but I encountered that this week when I was over at your house and you were talking about how dumb you were. You always kind of minimized, I think, your talents and abilities, and I think to a certain extent that maybe is rubbed off on our kids. I remember a specific example of this when I was young, and I believed most of the things you said about yourself. And I remember Wade Horsley and I used to play chess, and we were pretty avid chess players together, and I was pretty good. And I remember one night you said, "Hey, let's play chess together," and I thought, "Oh, this will be fun. I'm going to beat my mom in chess." And man, for the life of me, I could not beat you, and it was humiliating because I thought, I just had never thought of you as being a good chess player or anything, but certainly over the years I've come to appreciate your intellect, and I think the fact that all of us kids have done well in school and education, and the importance of that is certainly a direct part of who and what you are. I remember another time, shortly after I got my driver's license, you and I had gone to Preston in the Tornado, and that was kind of the neat, fun car. In fact, I got my driver's license just shortly after we bought that car. And I was still really excited about playing with the gears, even though it was an automatic transmission. But I remember at some point, well past out of Preston, I realized I was still in second gear, driving along at 60 miles an hour. And I tried to subtly shift it from second to drive without you noticing it. And I was not successful at that. And I remember shortly after that, the engine overheated. We had to stop at a farmer's house, and he actually took the thermostat out and replaced it. And I was tried to downplay the connection between my driving in second gear for many miles at 60 miles an hour and the fact that there was problems with the engine, but I was impressed that you didn't really beat me up over such a silly thing. I remember one time I was sick at night, and by sick I mean I woke up in the middle of the night and had thrown up, and I remember Dad came in and kind of helped clean up, and I was wondering where you were, and I think you had gone to the temple and still hadn't arrived home. But I remembered that being sick and how I would always look for you and the comfort you would provide me. And as much as, Dad was a good dad, I mean, obviously, at those times, or when I looked for that comfort from you, but I remember missing that. One last thing, just to share with you, I remember I was in the 7th grade, and David Lansbury, who lived down the street, had hurt his neck in wrestling, and was out of school for a while and had his neck in a brace. And I remember one day he was finally going to come back to school, and he had asked me to meet him on the way to school. And that morning, for some reason, Lynn Stringham had come over to the house earlier than when I was going to meet David to walk to school. And this was in the winter, so there was still ice and snow on the roads. And I remember, because Lynn was there and he was really part of the cool crowd, and I wanted to go with him, and I didn't want to say, well, let's wait for David, because I have to go pick him up, thinking that he might think that I was less than cool because we had to wait for David. So anyway, we walked past David's house, and I remember looking over at his house as we were walking down Mountain View, kind of thinking, well, maybe he's looking out the window and he'll see us and come out, and he didn't. Anyway, then I get to school, and he doesn't show up at school that day, and I'm getting really concerned. And when I come home that night, what had happened is David, because he had waited for me and I didn't show up, and then he had left to go to school and was hurrying to the high school to catch the bus. And at the bottom of Mountain View, he slipped and fell, and kind of re-injured his neck. I remember you coming in and kneeling by my bed and talking to me, taking some time to teach me about friendship and commitment, and then inviting me to kneel down with you and to pray for David. So much of what I have, all the good things that I look for in my life, I see in my life, and have come from you, Mom, and I'm so grateful for that. Honored to be in your family, grateful that I was blessed to be one of your children. Thank you very much.
My overwhelming impression of you, Grandma, Norma, you're not my grandma, has been you've always been generous. I remember from the first time I met you, seeing your example of really giving of yourself to your children, to their spouses, grandchildren, and to others. I was astounded with your example of service. Even when you were teaching full-time, you go out of your way to bring meals to people, to give gifts, or just some token of remembrance or kindness all the time. And I've always been very impressed with that. Another thing that I've enjoyed and appreciated has been your acceptance of me, especially because I've had some out there ideas and I've never felt criticized or put down. But I feel privileged to have you as a mother-in-law and to be a part of this family. I've heard many people criticize mother-in-laws, and I am very proud to have you as my mother-in-law, and I have no reason to be critical or condemning, because you are such a wonderful person. And I'm very grateful to be a part of this family. I think you did a great job raising your children, and they are wonderful people, and they have you largely to thank for that. Happy belated birthday. We love you.
Happy birthday, Norma. This is one of those fun assignments that Gary has had us do, even though we're a little tardy. Glad to do it. One of the memories that I have, actually there's a couple of thoughts that I've had. When I first married your good daughter, after my own father had died, I remember getting really close to you and to Ras. And I remember thinking how grateful I was that I was marrying into the family that I was, because I felt so welcome, and that hasn't changed over all of these years. The other thing that I remember, that I would comment on, is you being so close, proximity-wise, to our family, since you've moved here to Mesa and we followed you in. And so our children have got to grow up with their grandma, and that has been a rich blessing to them, as well as to Connie and myself, just to have you so close. All of the times that we spent together, all of your generosity has been appreciated over the years, and so anyway, it's been a pleasure, and will continue to be a member of your family. So happy 80th, a little tardy, and I'm going to turn the time over to my good wife.
You know, I was just thinking that all of your children, most of your grandchildren are here to do this, but I was thinking of a memory that if Dane were here, and you know, Mom and I know because we both still miss him, but I was just thinking if Dane were here, this would be his memory, or one of his memories, is being over at your house watching Home Alone, and when the tarantula came out, he'd run around to the side of the chair. Wait till the tarantula part was done, come back out and finish watching Home Alone. And I know you remember that too. That was kind of fun. That was kind of back in his, I think he was about 4 or 5 at the time, but that was a fun memory for us and him. Anyway, I was thinking of some good memories that I've had growing up, and I remember actually being sick. Not a lot, but it seemed like whenever I got sick, I always got pretty sick, and I always had bad earaches and just bad colds or sore throats or just different things, and I always seemed to get pretty sick at different times. And that you were just always such a good nurse and always took good care of me, and I always felt loved and taken care of. And I always remember that if ever I was sick during the school year and I had to stay home from school, the treat was we got to lay in your bed and be sick because you had the TV up on the wall. And so that was kind of like one of the little paybacks of being sick, is laying in your bed. So that was fun, and I always, I think I probably do that same thing with my own children, is when they were sick, I always kind of pampered them a little and took good care of them, and you were a good nurse to me when I was sick. Another memory I have is you being my 4-H leader, and especially with the foods. I think I did 5 years of them with you as my teacher, and you know, to this day I just love being in the kitchen, and I think some of those memories or those lessons and those things that you taught me have just stuck with me, and now my girls as well. And so that's kind of a fun legacy that you've passed on to me, and I appreciate that. And I've always enjoyed cooking and serving my family in that way, and I know you have too. So that's kind of a fun and good memory. And I just appreciate the main thing is your and Dad's willingness